May is Mental Health Awareness Month. This morning, we're highlighting the organization National Alliance on Mental Illness as it prepares to host its nationwide walk. Joining us this morning, Dr. Glenda DeMoss and Angelina Hudson. Good morning to you both. Welcome back.
Yes.
Thank you for coming back. This is a really great conversation to be having ahead of this event. I know this event is on the minds of many as we approach Saturday. Talk to us about what's taking place Saturday morning.
Largest mental health advocacy walk in the city of Houston. This is our 19th year. I can barely believe we've been doing 19th
almost 2
national
decades.
walk. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, and it just continues to get larger and larger. We started this walk for the families, for the individuals in recovery. It was almost like a reunion of sorts, and everybody came back every year who had ever been to our classes, our support groups, and it was just a good feeling kind of walk, something to sort of embrace and celebrate. But now it's so much more. There's law enforcement, there's criminal justice, there are schools, school districts. The Mayor's Youth Council is going to be there, Jack and Jill of America. We also have a special guest this year, Morgan Price, the USA gymnast who won the championship 2024, this year's national All-American, I can't remember what it is, but she's a big rising star. She doesn't live in Houston, so she's taking time out of her busy schedule to come here. She goes to Fisk University.
Oh, wow.
She's bringing a few of her teammates, and that's what we need. We need more attention to not just mental health overall, but our youth and young adults. If we get this earlier, if we get ahead of the ball and drive down the stigma and get young people help earlier, the less difficult to treat, the less serious the mental health issues are. So we're just excited about this walk and all of our supporters who are going to be there.
I actually got cold chills as you were naming off the different groups and agencies and participants, because part of this is you talk about making sure people have these resources at a younger age, but it's also ensuring that more people have these resources, and by having these conversations with police, with elected officials, and people who once upon a time didn't talk about this stuff.
Absolutely.
That's critical.
Yeah. So I am actually one of 4 nationally certified public safety responder clinicians. And just to have the police department, and first responders supporting NAMI and being a part is a huge deal. And we're so excited about that.
Throughout the month, we've been talking about mental health awareness, and why it's important to be having these conversations. But let's remind folks why it is we have these conversations, not just during the month of May, but all year long.
Yes, it's important to keep this conversation in the forefront, because this is a taboo topic. This is one where people are surrounded by shame, blame, and guilt, and it has dire impact. The thing that leads people into depression and thoughts of suicide, that's why it's so important to talk about it. Because when you say that you take the mask off and you say, look, it's me, it's my family member, it's my friend, it encourages other people to come out and open up and speak about it as well. I want to mention, even our own mayor has joined a team. Mayor John Whitmire, his daughter has a counseling group, and she has a team, Whitmire Counseling, and he's bought a t-shirt, and he's on one of our walk teams.
How neat is that?
We also have the Houston Dynamos, Dash.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yes, their CEO has come out as a CEO against stigma. So we're going to highlight that initiative as well on that day. So we've, TC Energy is our business chair. WellPoint is our volunteer chair. ExxonMobil is coming out with a volunteer team. So this is a very well-rounded, every industry, every walk of life, different ages. And I think that's why it's so important that we highlight this particular event, because at this point in year 19, we have finally grown to the extent where we have enough traction to pull in everyone that is passionate about mental health for all.
Absolutely.
I know it was during these conversations right here on the 8 a.m. show that really inspired one of my producers, Kate. She's not with us today. Today is her off day, but it inspired her to come forward and to have a conversation publicly on this broadcast.
Wow.
I think it was 2 days ago, or maybe it was yesterday.
Okay.
Time is escaping me right now. But she's Filipino, and she talked about how mental health is a taboo topic within the Filipino community, and being that it is AAPI Heritage Month as well, she wanted to use this platform as an opportunity to reach out to other Filipinos and young women to talk about mental health and what it means to families. And she talked about how she is a first-generation American, and how her parents were immigrants, and when she was struggling as she was growing up, she had a loving family, but it wasn't a family that embraced this mental health conversation.
It's a stigma. It's not something that anyone wants to talk about. I mean, we talk in terms about how, past experiences of sharing put a person in a space of feeling judged, So if we start creating an environment of comfortability around getting mental health support and advocacy for mental health, it changes the dynamic of how individuals see supporting their mental health.
And I know when you bring up environment, our last conversation talked about having that environment also apply to the workplace.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's why we have the CEOs Against Stigma.
Yeah.
We felt that if the CEO could talk about it, it would open up the conversation for everyone else.
It starts at the top.
Listen, I don't want to forget to mention the website is still open. It's www.namiwalks.org/Greater Houston.
Yes.
There's a lot of walks around the country, so you want to make sure you pick the one for Greater Houston. And listen, this is not a culminating event on Saturday. Our fundraiser goes on for the next 60 days.
Yes.
And let me tell you why. All of our programs and services are at no cost. We've been around for 34 years, and we've never had to charge for the classes, the psychoeducation classes, or the support groups. And we're covering 3 counties. And this is the one event that financially supports all of those services.
That's incredible.
So our goal is $350,000.
Yes.
I think we're about to hit.
190,000.
What's the goal?
The goal is $350,000.
And we are now officially at $190,000.
Okay.
So listen, everyone, we need y'all's support.
Yes, we do.
Please log on www.namiwalks.org/Greater Houston and donate. This is not, donating to a shoe fund. We are supporting your mental health.
Mental health.
Talk to us too about the resources, the services. You mentioned support groups. Talk to us about the resources people will be able to connect with come Saturday.
So I'd love to break down the psychoeducation classes, because that to me is the biggest component of understanding mental health. The psychoeducation classes provide individuals with insight on what mental health is, also diagnosis, what that looks like, or just how to support a family member. Many people don't understand the importance of that education piece. So those classes that we offer are extremely imperative.
Life-saving.
Yes, and if we want to work very hard to remove the stigma, the education piece is the most important piece.
Having these conversations.
And then the support group, walking the journey with those families and individuals in recovery. You get 15 minutes maybe with your therapist, or
45.
40, I'm sorry. 45 with the therapist, but 15 with the psychiatrist.
60 depending on the conversation.
And how much of that is paperwork?
Now. I don't talk about that.
You get FaceTime. You get FaceTime with your therapist. But in the psychiatrist's office, a little less than that.
Oh, God, yes, it's
But in the
different.
support group, I tell people, a lot of people want to talk about what's going on with them, but no one wants to hear it at the Thanksgiving dinner table.
Yeah.
No one wants to hear it at the Easter
That's a good
table.
point.
Yeah.
That's
But
a
if
good
you
point.
keep coming back to the support group, you can talk about that same issue over and over and over again, because we're here for you and we want to walk the journey with you. So, and who does this? The people who lead our classes and support groups are those who are in recovery. They've been through the journey, and they've been able to come through and thrive.
And if it's not you today, it could be you tomorrow.
That's
and
right.
if it's not your loved one today, it could be your loved one tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And so, being relatable and knowing how to be empathetic and supportive, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Being supportive, because you want to make sure you're doing the right things at the right time for these people who need you most in those moments.
These
That's
are best
right.
practices, it's evidence-based, and it helps you survive these very serious diagnoses. But on a funner note, guess who's coming to our walk? The Turkey Leg Hut.
Woo! Shout out to the turkey leg.
Listen, we used to run out of coffee. Not this year.
Yes, no.
We've got Traveling Toms, and their coffee truck is coming. Salada is handing out free samples the entire day, starting at 9 o'clock.
Look at you, ladies.
So we're so excited to be able to pull some big name, entities that want to support us and making sure that they understand they're tapped into, mental health, the awareness.
It's easy for this to be a buzzword, right?
Yes.
But it's also, it's nice to see people supporting that and letting that be what it is. And that's a service to the public.
And look ahead as we prepare for our 20-year in 2025.
Right. Yeah.
It's going to be even bigger. Like, our goal is to bring in so many more avid supporters, you know, influencers that want to get behind NAMI and want to assist in removing the stigma attached to mental health.
So we have this opportunity Saturday, right?
Saturday.
We have this whole month of May.
And June and half of July.
What's June?
Yes.
Well, we're going to continue with
you're the fundraiser for 60 days. But then coming up in July, it's Minority Mental Health Month.
And if we can back up just a little bit.
Let's go.
Sunday, we do have another event that we're hosting. It's Shopping Ladies. So for those of you that love to shop, Alice and Olivia is providing their space. We're going to shop. They're also donating 10% of all sales made during that time frame from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. to NAMI, and that goes towards our walk effort as well. So for those of you that love to shop, this is for the ladies, and yes, I will be present providing coping skills, mental health, just ways in which you can support your mental health. So come out, shop with me, shop. At 5 to 7, River Oaks, Alice and Olivia.
You can have those conversations in all sorts of different spaces and places.
And that's a good point. So if you have a restaurant or you have a boutique or a store and you want to run, let's say, a month-long fundraiser for us, we welcome that. That is another way to highlight mental health and give back to the community.
That's right. And I'll be more than happy to come and provide any support that I can to make sure that we work very hard to remove the stigma.
And one last point I want to hit home too is that, so often we see people suffering in silence, and it takes a lot, right? It's a complicated matter. It's difficult to come forward and say, I need help, or my brother here, or my sister, or my mom, I'm concerned. It takes a lot of strength. It's private. And so yes, we're having a lot of these opportunities, right, for people to come together and come forward. We know not everybody is going to. So my question to you is, for people who are suffering in silence or just don't feel comfortable getting out here to any of these events that you're talking about, how can they reach out to you for help?
That's how the warm line was invented. We have a warm line. And you don't have to share your name. You don't have to give any more information than you're comfortable, and you can just talk to someone one-on-one. If it's a situation that we feel that we can't handle, because it's a warm line, we're not a crisis, we are inside of a building that does handle crises, the Harris Center. So if it turns into something that, we think you need more serious connection, we can make those connections internally. But so the classes, of course, you walk in, everybody sees who you are. If you go to a support group, but the warm line is a very anonymous way to say, I just need help sorting things out, and we'll talk to you as many times as you call.
Yes, and if you're needing clinical support, we do have My Mind, My Mental Wellness Community. It is a digital app that is available at your fingertips.
That's awesome.
Downloadable on Apple and Google Play. And we do have clinicians available to provide you with direct mental health support. We do diagnosing and we do treatment planning. So if you need a clinician, you can download that app. In addition, you can find me at Pearls of Change, www.pearlsofchange.com.
Ladies, always a pleasure catching up with you. You're welcome back anytime. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Yes.